Hi, everybody. My name is Tina, and we have 3 children. Our last child is Madison. She has Down syndrome, and she is an extraordinarily gifted child academically and in ability. She actually shocks people at how high-functioning she is. But there were certain issues that emotionally that she and I would deal with because I was the authority, and I would be the one to constantly make her behave in a certain manner or take care of herself in a certain manner, making sure that, she was always bathed properly, clothed properly, dressed properly so that, she could present herself in the best way possible. And it would always be a conflict during transition time, and also like from transitioning from being on the computer and having to go to bed, or having to do some work, transitioning from something fun to work, or vice versa. Just the transitions were very difficult for her. And as she grew older, her vocal responses became more harsh, and I've noticed that we had to really deal with just trying to help her understand how to deal with her emotion. And during this time in her life, around 12, when her hormones would be more uncontrollable, there have been difficult issues during the last several years. But we noticed for the first week, we noticed that there were a little bit of change. So I was like, well, surely not that she's just having a good day. But then we noticed by the second week, all the things that we've poured into her, teaching her to say yes, ma'am, and be respectful, and you're not supposed to speak that way, and be kind. All of those things are starting to pour out of her voluntarily. And bedtime was a very difficult time, and also getting up in the morning was very difficult. Now, I was wondering where she was one night, because it was around bedtime. I was about ready to put her in bed, and it's like, anybody seen Maddie? And I noticed the bathroom door was closed that she usually gets ready in. And I knocked on the door and said, Maddie, do you need help with anything? And she said no, but she invited me into the bathroom. And I noticed she had gotten her own pajamas for the first time in her entire life. They were sitting on the sink, and she was preparing for bed. And I don't have to ask her to brush her teeth anymore. I don't have to force her to go into, start the process of getting ready for bed. And during the day when I ask her, Maddie, would you please stop the computer and come do some work, she will say, yes, ma'am, instead of the transition fight that we usually have to go through. And I would always have to win because I have to make sure that she is being respectful and doing the right thing, and I can't let that go at any time because I wanted to make sure that her life would be good. And if I poured into her as much as I could for the first several years, I was hoping that all of us could have a good life of peace through our, as we aged. But she is doing so well with transitions, I can hardly believe the stress level that is not in our home anymore. And I am so excited to see what's going to happen in the next 6 months. Her clarity, her speech is becoming more clear. Her thoughts are reaching a higher clarity. Her quickness, her humor is increasing. She's always been a funny kid, but her intelligent humor has progressed to another level. Her fluid thought, her continuous thought have increased, and we are absolutely amazed at how it's doing. So we are excited to see what's going to be happening, and we're excited to see what other children will be doing. We've kind of used Maddie as a little bit of an experiment to see, before we mention it to other families with children with challenges, but we are so excited to see what it's done for Maddie. So, Mark, thank you very much for the opportunity to share our story.